minutes of your life. This is the Homer Hour, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Alongside former Badger and Packer Gary Ellerson, here's Emmy Award winner Homer.
The best 60 minutes of your day, the Gary Ellerson Homer Hour. My first question, tell him, he had to do any prep. That he was doing an analyst as a football game and could just watch it and tell you what he sees, and if that's good enough or not. Joining us now is Gary Ellerson, Packer Badger, nearly a University of Georgia football player. That's a fair statement. You were close to becoming a University of Georgia football player, if not for Herschel Walker. Or is that inaccurate?
That's a fair statement.
If Herschel Walker had not been at Georgia, you'd have gone to Georgia. That's my theory. Absolutely.
That's
all right. Now we're talking about something that was on the last show that I've just never understood. About, like, you have former players that are asked to be analysts. And I'm thinking, you don't have to do any prep. None. I mean, you'll want to know the name, whatever. As an analyst, you don't, because you got a play-by-play guy doing that. You don't got to watch any football to be able to analyze a football game. I lived it. And so I've had an analyst and do that. Jim McElvain showed me 7 sheets of paper, and I said, throw them away. I want you to watch the game and tell us what you see. Former players all see the game a little bit differently, but I want to know how you see it. And I think you could do the thing. You could do what's the first game in the NFL this year?
Is it Cowboys?
Cowboys, right.
Eagles?
I believe you could do analysis of that game with zero prep before the game. When they ask
you just got to know the names.
Correct. Not the names, but I'm saying analyze what's going on and what you're watching.
Correct.
Piece of cake.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't need to interview coaches. I wouldn't need to interview players. I wouldn't need to. But I will say this to you, Homer, and I think you're lost on this. It gives you more insight of different teams when you go to their practices. And you still don't have to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
But you're looking at practice from a different lens, and you can pick up things that maybe you see in the game that they did in practice, and you saw them practice it, and you said to yourself, that's not going to work.
Right. But there's a limit to what you're going to say in your analysis.
You say to yourself, I saw him do that in practice.
Right.
He's good.
I mean, you can
there's certain nuances.
Yeah, and I think those nuances are a waste, because what you want that may help you, and where you would privately say, this is amazing. He sucked in practice. Now it's pretty good in the game. Well, the average person watching, he don't care what they did in practice. All they care about is what they do in the game. And you're telling them what you're seeing in the game. Now, if you want to, you could say, hey, they didn't do this very well in practice. But again, those are comments that I'm not sure. Also things you can say serve the team, or they'd like you to say that. But the key would be, aside from what you saw in practice, it isn't going to really change what you observe. Like, because you played. Running back saw this, did this.
You are right, but Homer, it still gives you insight on certain special things that you can lend to your audience that they may not know. Okay. I mean, there are a lot of guys, media guys, that go watch practice.
Yes.
And it goes back to what you're saying, that don't pick up things that I pick up.
Right. Now, if you're a play-by-play guy, you need to go to practice. You need to go to practice to know who the players are, football stuff. But, yeah, you played. You didn't play. Yeah. You also played at that level. And that's very important because, as you would tell everybody, the levels are different. But
yes,
When you watching and granted, things change. They may pass the ball more or whatever. But to me, you're like, that dude is wide open. We dreamed of having players like that wide open. The biggest problem that analysts have as players is that you have to understand you have to do it at a junior high level. The majority of people have no idea what you're talking about. But they don't listen to me, so that's the problem. That's the problem also of going to practice, because you'll overanalyze. If you don't go to practice, you won't overanalyze. You'll just tell them what you see and what stands out to you. Oh, man, the dude was 10 yards behind. And then you could tell him that's never supposed to happen, right? I mean, you dream of that kind of play. And how can you know that? Because you lived it. But, all right, back to your story.
So I was at a golf tournament this weekend. I believe it was Ellerson.
The one in Trapper's Turn with the terrible weather?
Yeah. Oh, how'd you know?
Because everybody's at that event. Everybody.
All right, so I was at that event. So I was a guest at this event.
Wilde and Tausch talked to Robert Brooks, who had one of the greatest interviews. Everybody should listen to it. We'll get to that. It was spectacular, explaining wide receivers. But go ahead.
Yeah, and I was there for that interview. But I have to say this about Brett Favre and Ryzen. Brett Favre tells the story when he was first in Atlanta. And he and Billy Joe Tolliver were the backup quarterbacks. I forget who the starter was. Maybe you remember who the starter was.
It's a good question. Jeff George? We'll have to look.
Yeah, that may have been it. Yeah. And
Jerry Glanville was the head coach.
Jerry
basically said that Brett Favre was a drunk, but
could have been. And so Andre Ryzen would run all these routes, but they never really were right route. Like on a play, and Ryzen see a guy in the area where he's supposed to be, but he run the route to where nobody was. So he would come off the field.
Hold on, Gary. We got to take a break. We can't hear you. This story's too good. This story's too good for where you're cutting in and out. And I want every word that Gary Ellerson has to say. And we're going to do that next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on 94.5 ESPN.
Northbound 43, if you're heading out of town, you're looking at delays from about Lapham all the way up past Keefe. Southbound, nice and clear. We've got a couple of accidents to deal with as well. One on 94 eastbound at Mitchell Boulevard off on the right shoulder. Another one that's been there all afternoon, 41 southbound at Hampton Avenue off on the left shoulder. And then we've got one off the freeway system. This one is on northbound Highway 100 just before Hampton. It's got the right lane block, so you're going to see Highway 100 backing up quite a bit. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, partly cloudy skies, a low of 42 at the lake, 37 inland. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, slight chance for a rain in the afternoon, high of 55 at the lake, 63 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
The best source for every piece of NFL news you need to know.
The people there made it a really great trip. The people in Green Bay were really nice, like literally driving ESPN people around themselves.
ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter is on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy every Wednesday morning at 7:30. Sponsored by Island Resort and Casino.
The Pancake Palace in Green Bay was outstanding. So really nice trip.
On 94.5 ESPN, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube, and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor. If it's a celebrate or tailgate, when you're gonna recreate upstate. If it's a holiday, birthday, any date, you can save at Discount Liquor.
Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. It's time to stock up for your Memorial Day weekend celebrations. Whether you need a couple of cases, a cold half barrel, a great bottle of wine, Your favorite craft beer or hard-to-find liquor, you'll find it at Discount Liquor, all at the lowest prices in town. Visit us at 51st in Oklahoma and Milwaukee and on Barstow in Maine in downtown Waukesha. Voted best liquor store in Milwaukee again. Have a happy and safe Memorial Day weekend from all of us at Discount Liquor.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings. Discount Liquor.
Check out all of our weekly specials at discountliquorinc.com.
Highlight your long weekend when the Brewers kick off a 3-game series against the Red Sox on Memorial Day, featuring the best way to start summer, Dollar Hot Dog Day. Keep the summer vibes going into the week as kids and seniors can get 50% off select tickets at the game on Wednesday, May 28th. What's better than a long weekend? Brewers baseball and dollar hot dogs. Find your seats today at brewers.com.
When having new Pella windows and doors installed at your home, you get the full Pella experience. That means we're with you from start to finish. Our team doesn't disappear after the work is done. Just like with Vinny, your Pella experience starts with a free in-home consultation.
It was a really comfortable kitchen table chat. We knew Pella was going to get it right the first time, and they designed a project with us. They didn't just replace our windows and doors.
With customizations driving limitless possibilities, our Pella experts truly listen to your vision, just as we did with Nicole.
I felt like they really listened to us. There are so many options that are available, so it was nice to have someone narrow those down, offer some suggestions, and they made sure that the design was what we wanted.
Don't wait any longer, because right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get 0% financing for up to 6 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 5/31/2025. This is the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
1, 2, you know what to do.
All right, we have Gary Ellerson giving a phenomenal story about Andre Ryzen and the Atlanta Falcons when Brett Favre was there, or if Brett Favre was saying it. I don't know. I only caught half the words. We have retooled, and now we are going to get every word from Gary Ellerson. This is the Gary Ellerson Homer Hour. Take it away.
So Brett's telling his story about Andre Ryzen and his route running. And they would call a play, but Andre would never run the play the way it was called. But he would always kind of get himself into the open area of the field and would be open. And so he would come off the field, and Brett and Billy Joe Tolliver goes, Andre, why that wasn't the play that was called. Why you run that? He goes, why am I running a out pattern when I know the cornerback is sitting right there? I'm just going to do this in or this curl right here and be wide open. And so he would do that in practice as well. So it full circle moment to the Super Bowl. They've got Andre Ryzen and Antonio Freeman on the same side. And Brett audible to a play. But Andre didn't know the play because he only been there maybe, 3-4 days, 3 weeks, but he didn't know what the play was. So Ryzen Freeman didn't tell Ryzen the play to call, but Brett, since he had played with Andre, knew he wasn't going to run the route. He was going to run to the open spot. And sure enough, Ryzen gets the touchdown to the open spot. And, of course, the rest is history. That was the first touchdown of the game, I believe, with Ryzen and Brett Favre. Brett Favre then says he runs off the field, not necessarily that they were happy that they scored the touchdown. He runs off the field elated because he knew that Ryzen wasn't going to run the call route, and he got it right.
So the Packers won that game primarily or partially because Andre Ryzen and Brett Favre played together in Atlanta. Accurate?
Pretty much. Right, pretty much, right? Because he knew what he was going to do.
He would have not, and I would ask Brett too, but the way you're telling it, Gary, he would not have thrown the ball to Andre Ryzen had he not had the experience of understanding Andre in Atlanta? That's the
Correct.
question. Yeah, all right. Okay.
Yeah. Isn't that unbelievable?
That is unbelievable. And people should know they didn't want Andre Ryzen. Robert Brooks got hurt, and literally the week he got hurt or right in that area, Ryzen got cut, I think, by the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they then picked him up, and the rest is history. So that is outstanding. It's kind of depressing because there's no way you're going to have a story as good as that.
Why is that depressing?
Because that's so good. Maybe other people know that story. I didn't know that story.
Right.
Had you heard it before?
No, had not heard it before.
Here's the way I judge a good story. Anybody listening or anybody who listens to the podcast, that's the story they're going to tell someone else. Hey, I was listening to Gary Ellerson. You can't believe what he said.
Yeah.
And now, granted, that's so many years ago, but it's still huge because that big touchdown pass to Andre Ryzen, and you've added something to it that tells me, unless Brett Favre would tell me otherwise, I would say there's no way you would have thrown that pass had you not played with him in Atlanta, understanding, and this is what people don't understand about Brett Favre, is how smart he was as a quarterback, knowing where everybody's supposed to be and what to do.
Right.
You knew what was the open area, and I don't know, when you step back, damn, Andre might be running to that open area. I don't, right? I'd like to know the process that Favre went through from the time he snapped the ball or whatever. But you got any other stories that good?
No.
Here's
great.
And this is what I want to ask you. I don't know Robert Brooks. I remember him a little bit.
Right.
They were asking him about the wide receivers, and I knew he was telling the truth because he was pretty tough on Shannon Sharp. But Shannon Sharp never helped me a second. But there was no reason for it. He made a clear reason for it because Brett Favre was throwing to Sterling Sharp. It didn't matter if he was single, double, or triple teamed.
Correct.
And he said, but when he left and I became the guy, Robert Brooks saying, I realized it's important for me that Antonio Freeman gets better, not because I'm the nicest guy in the world, but if I want to get open, I can't have 3 people around me. And the only way I'm not going to be as open is if Antonio Freeman gets better and they got to cover him. If he gets better and they have to cover him, that's going to make it easier for me because there are going to be fewer guys around me. I'm going to get open easier, and I'm going to have better numbers.
Right.
And I thought, that's just the truth. Not trying to be the nicest guy in the world, but being the smartest guy in terms of what's going to make my job easier. And I would look back and say, I'm sure it did, because he had a couple of incredible years with the Packers. Now, I say that because Dorsey Levens also talked about it was difficult with Edgar Bennett because Bennett didn't really like it when Dorsey got better and got more of his time. That may work that way with wide receivers, but it doesn't work that way with running backs, right?
It does not. Because you're playing the same position.
And there are only so many carries.
Exactly. You're only going to get so many touches. And either in that situation, one's the blocker and one is the primary ball carrier.
Dorsey Levens said, when I was the blocker, Edgar was fine. When I became the runner like he was, didn't work the same way. And I would say understandably so.
Yeah.
The better
that happened with me in Green Bay. We had this little 3 thing going on where it was myself, Gary Ellis, Jesse Clark, and Eddie Ivory. And all 4 of us could play halfback, tailback, fullback.
And Eddie Lee Ivory was supposed to be the best.
Correct. But Eddie never really played fullback but they played him more as a slot guy, motion guy, tailback, halfback guy. Myself, Gary Ellerson, and Jesse Clark, they played us more as half and half, tailback, fullback. So the 3 of us, if we were in the game at the same time, it could be situations where we would rotate within the game at tailback or fullback, depending on we were going right or left.
And that
if
was
that makes crazy
no, it totally
sense.
makes sense. Yes, but now was that after Eddie Lee got hurt? I can't.
Yes,
because he he was never the same.
No, he was never the same. So then eventually they phased Italy out and moved him into motion H-back slot kind of a guy. And then it became Gary Ellis, Jesse Clark, and myself. And then my second year, Kenneth Davis came in, and then he became the fourth, and then they moved Eddie out.
This was a long time ago, but I always thought Gary Ellis got the most because he did the most pass receiving of the group. But I don't
Correct. He could do that as well. Yes. Yeah. That Bob Snelker offense, you had to be able to play. If you were a running back, you had to be able to play halfback, tailback, fullback to be effective in that offense.
And other offenses weren't that same way?
No, they weren't. But I think if you look in today's game, of course, now you're in more of a one-back type situation or a spread type situation where, you're still going to have that running back doing multiple things. Of course, we know we've evolved right now to where there's no longer a fullback in the game anymore. It's basically one back set, and the number of tight ends you can get or the number of receivers you can get into the game.
Wow. I have to tell you that I'm a little sad because we were denied what would have been the greatest taunting ever in the history of sports, or the worst taunting ever, when Halliburton made that shot against the Knicks, and he thought he won the game, so he was copying Reggie Miller's choke, and it would have been the worst choke ever, or taunting ever, because it turns out he didn't win the game. He had a foot on the line, so it would have tied the game. If Indiana had lost the game in overtime, every person in Madison Square Garden would have been doing the choke, making fun of Tyrese Halliburton.
I don't like that dude.
Really?
No, I don't like him.
Oh, and why? I can see.
I don't. I just something. And I know Reggie Miller did that years ago with the Knicks, and that's kind of what it was all about. But he just kind of rubs me the wrong way. He's got the punchable face type dude. I don't know. He just rubs me the wrong way. And that's the NBA. Matter of fact, that is the new game today. Not just necessarily NBA, NFL. But it just seems something about him that I just can't get down with. I really don't like.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
Yeah. Well, most Wisconsinites don't, but I wonder if it was not necessarily in Indiana, but maybe in Minnesota or maybe in Oklahoma or California. Do they not? But there's just something about the guy that I just don't like.
I mean, I don't. You don't even have to tell me because I know what it is.
What is it?
There's a proper way to do things, and you always seem to be running into instances where you want to say to them, you just don't get it. I mean, there's so much to really like about you, and you've made some incredibly impressive plays. But I don't know, when things come up, I always want to say, come on. You can do better than that, or you just don't get it. And he's got enough great stuff that he's done that he doesn't need to do it. And you never know. Well, first of all, it's not happened once. It's happened multiple times to you. And you're thinking, I know he's going to do it again. I don't know what he does. I don't know what he's going to do. But
right?
Yeah. And it's that, right? You give a guy a pass, maybe one, and then it's like, and again, and again. I mean, I know if you met him, you'd be like, you just don't get it. What is it?
No.
I don't know what it is, but you don't get it. Am I right?
Right. Yeah, it feels like that's about right. Yeah, he just doesn't get it. Yeah.
And there's so much positive about him, but he just seems to have a part to him like it's what I think about Aaron Rodgers now somewhat. It's almost like he wants you to not like him. He wants to be the bad guy.
It was so bad, right?
Yeah.
He does.
Why do you want to be the bad guy? You know, you're Batman or you're Superman. You've made these incredible plays, and yet you still want to be the villain. Come on.
Yeah, I don't get it.
But it does seem that way. He likes when people don't like him, and that was just an incredible shot. All right, you can go to YouTube if you have any questions for Gary Ellerson. I neglect usually because I feel like opening the show with you. There's something, but I don't know that there is.
Oh, today? No, there's nothing today. We're just waiting for the season to start right now, or just looking at the NBA playoffs and see what's happening there. I mean, we're just the Packers right now. There's no real news out of 1265 Lombardi at this point, and there's no real news about Giannis at this point. If you want to talk Brewers, no real news about the Brewers at this point, is there?
Yeah. No. The
biggest thing out right now, if you were talking, social and all that kind of stuff, is the RG3 and Ryan Clark and then the Caitlin Clark and the Angel Reese and, all that.
Right. Well, Ryan Clark, I think, apologized to RG3 today.
He did, and as well as he should.
Well, my answer to you, a question to him would be like, how long ago was this like 3 days later? I mean, my answer is an apology is good, but if it's a real apology, it happens pretty quick, right?
Yeah, well, I think enough people got to him.
Yeah. Well, if you have an apology, people don't need to get to you. You realize what you did was inappropriate if you do. Yeah, now it seems to me it takes this many days to go like, well, for whatever reason, he feels like he has to apologize. I question whether he really thinks he needs to apologize, but it's more like he has to. I've lived that before, so.
Yeah, you have.
But this is how many days? I mean, if you believe firmly that your family stays out of it, the second you say it, you go, I went too far. Right?
Probably shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. And then you handle a certain way. If you think, like, I'm not regretting. In fact, I'd have to go by. I think his quotes originally were pretty much like, I'm not regretting anything. In fact, he then said, like, I kind of saved the guy. Like, didn't he? Pebble, did you read that one where Clark, RG3 was horrible, and I covered him and tried to make him as good as he was, and he still stunk. Didn't he say that?
Yeah, he did, yep.
Yeah, that's a strange way to apologize.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Very strange.
But my big question on the Packers is about Van Ness. I hope he gets better, but I don't know, and I guess I'd have to watch some tape. I don't know that I've seen anything that makes me think he's going to be better, that much better this year. You hope he's going to be better. What skill do you think he has that he'll show that we haven't seen? So
that's a good question. I don't know if no one knows. Because he doesn't feel like he can be the Hutchinson kid from
Michigan.
Lions.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
He tries to go through everybody.
Yeah.
And he can't, and I have never seen any. Somebody can send me on Twitter like any other moves he's had that impressed you. Like
there really isn't.
Like you either go through him or you go around.
But Homer, this is his year though. This is his year. This is his off season to try to master his craft and do all those things.
Right.
So you got to give him time.
I know. I'm willing to give him time, but I'm just saying, how's he going to do it?
Yeah, this is a year.
Right. How's he going to do it? Is he going to show us a move around? I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to. Either he's going to show us a new move going around and beating people on the outside, or he's going to become that much better just going through people.
Correct. We don't know.
Is there another option?
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know. All right. Well, that's just a question to answer. Just like the question to answer, like what if Jordan Love is going to be better this year than he was last year? What's he going to do better? Is he going to throw the long ball better, or are the receivers just simply going to be open more than they were and he'll hit them? Or they're going to run the ball so the receivers will be open more, but we thought that the second half of last year and it didn't happen, or the tight ends are going to be better. How's it going to happen? And that will be answered by what?
Okay, you want me to answer that?
Yes, but it's a specific, what I call a specific tease. It's supposed to be good enough. You know what it is. We'll see if it's good enough for people to hang around. Third quarter with Gary Ellerson next.
The Homer Hour is back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
Just one accident left over right now on 41 southbound, right about at Hampton Avenue, off on the left shoulder. A couple of cars there. It's going to be slow from about Silver Spring all the way down to Burleigh. Northbound, you're seeing backups from Watertown Plank Road up past Hampton. Eastbound 94's got a couple of pockets of heavy traffic from 76th Street through the Stadium interchange. Westbound, not too bad. It starts to slow down a little bit right around Moreland Road out past Calhoun. And then northbound 43, slowing just out of the Marquette up to Keefe. And checking the TMJ4 Storm King forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, a low of 42 at the lake, 37 inland. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, a slight afternoon rain chance with a high of 55 at the lake, 63 inland. Weather's brought to you by Big Frog Custom T-shirts and more. Easy and affordable apparel personalization with no minimums and fast turnaround. For all your printing needs, bigfrog.com/Mequon. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman's Brad Nortman. You hear me talk about Carbless and their refreshing flavors all the time. One of my favorites is watermelon, and Carbless just dropped the Watermelon Vodka Cocktail 4-pack. Perfect for chilling, grilling, or game day thrills. You know the drill. Zero sugar, unlimited flavor. Enjoy clean, crisp refreshment without the guilt. That's what Carbless does. Find the new Watermelon 4-packs wherever you get your Carbless. Crack open the taste of summer and get your bliss on.
Drive into Memorial Day all month long at Cunis. Get the best savings of the year at your nearby Milwaukee Metro Cunis locations in Oak Creek and Greenfield. Get huge discounts on the Buick Envista and Envision SUVs or the rugged GMC Terrain and Sierra. Visit your local dealer website for one of our 10 pre-owned super specials. You won't find deals like this anywhere else. Plus, we have unbeatable service specials on brakes, tires, and oil changes.
I'm Brian Bohm, General Manager of Cunis of Oak Creek.
And I'm Bill Eater, General Manager of Cunis of Greenfield.
We would like to invite you to take advantage of these great monthly specials.
And remember that your vehicle will be covered by our exclusive No Fear lifetime powertrain warranty included with new and qualified pre-owned purchases.
Call or stop in today for your VIP appointment.
Drive into Memorial Day all month long at Cunis.
Kevin Moret here for Mentality. Listen up, gentlemen. You're fighting an unfair battle. Studies show testosterone levels in men have plummeted by 25% in just 2 decades. That's why you're struggling with energy, muscle, and drive. But here's a game changer. Mentality's FDA-approved treatments boost testosterone by 30% on average. Imagine reclaiming the vitality your grandfathers had. Picture turning heads, dominating your career, and feeling unstoppable again. Don't settle for today's normal. Seize the day at mentalityhealth.com/radio. That's mentalityhealth.com/radio.
Whether you're a local who wants to enjoy a night out or you're planning to visit Milwaukee, enjoy an artfully stylish experience at St. Kate the Arts Hotel, conveniently located in the heart of downtown Milwaukee's Theater District. With deluxe accommodations, culinary creativity, on-site art galleries, artist in residence, and nightly live music, you'll enjoy every element of your stay at St. Kate. Learn more and book your stay at stkatearts.com.
Steinhaufel's biggest Memorial Day sale ever is happening now. Save 10% off store-wide and get $50 instant cash back for every $499 you spend. Plus, buy a premium mattress and get free premium delivery on everything. And take advantage of Steinhaufel's 60-month 0% financing. Plus, get amazing doorbusters. Steinhaufel's is Wisconsin's furniture and mattress leader. Shop in-store or online at steinhaufels.com.
You're listening to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
We'll get to Gary Ellerson and Jordan Love in a second. I want to tell you about American Place Casino. That means I'm going to tell you a half hour south of Franklin. And then I'm going to tell you it's a half hour south of Franklin. Then I'm going to tell you it's a half hour south of Franklin. Then I'm going to admit someone said, come on, Homer, it's exactly 38 minutes. So either way, American Place Casino. It's also located in Lake County, Illinois. Great table games, great slot machines, great sports book, great food. And now they have comedians. Yeah, you go to AmericanPlace.com, find out who's showing. They got all kinds of famous comedians. Jay Moore, he's a sports guy. And then they have other specials. Chance to win up to $1,000 in free play. You got to go to AmericanPlace.com just to find out all the things you get. If you're not taking advantage of some promotion or all the other stuff they had, that's on you. And, of course, you know it's a half hour south of Franklin. 38 minutes if you want to be a pain. American Place Casino. All right, Gary Ellerson on what Jordan Love has to do to be better than last year and as good as people think he can be.
You know, that's really specific. I'm going to be a little broader. I think you're going to see a better Jordan Love because I think he's going to be healthier, which means that you can expand your playbook. You can run the boots, right? I think you can get him outside. I think you'll see him pull it down a little bit more and run it. I think he was hindered a lot last year with that knee and that groin, where you just had a quarterback that was a statue within the pocket and was very limited in what he could do and what Matt LaFleur would call. So I think you'll see an expansion of the playbook that Jordan Love can go in and say, I can do this from a physical standpoint and not be a statue in the pocket. I think that's what you'll see.
I have had this debate with someone because I'm like, yeah, he should run more. And then they go, well, look back to his rookie year. He didn't run that much. But I think he has that skill. How do you put in how much running? Or I don't know, you can compare him to someone.
Well,
but
there's not a call run play. But I'm talking about breaking down a place where then now he have to use his feet. I think he can do that. He's athletic enough to do that. I'm talking about then design plays where you won't run the boots left and right. I think he'll be able to do a little bit more of that.
So more just even though you know they're going to be passing plays, it's out of the pocket. But then my question to you on that is, it seems to me that on those, I can see him not passing and running the ball more. So I don't know if I'm seeing him as a better runner than you or other people do.
Yeah, no, I think it's very limited. I mean, he's not Michael Vick, right? He's
correct.
Not Steve Young. He's not Aaron Rodgers at a young age, but he does have enough ability, athletic ability, to get outside the pocket and to run the football. I think he can do that. So I think when the play breaks down, he knows that I need to run it. He can do that. I don't think he could do that last year. I think he was afraid of that groin and that knee last year where he became a statue in the pocket. And I still think that hindered some of his throwing motions too, because he couldn't really plant out that one foot that he needed to plant out for to throw a complete ball.
How much did it affect him?
Well, I think it affected him greatly. I mean, here's the thing, Homer. No one knows how you're going to play once you're injured. And that's like the million-dollar question for a lot of guys who are in this league. How close can they be of themselves when they're not injured? There's going to be a drop-off, but how close can you get to that level? And a lot of guys can't play through that. A lot of guys can't play at that level. I mean, and I hate to say this, but, there's a couple guys you think of. I mean, Brett Favre is one of those dudes that you thought of who could play through anything and did, right? Aaron Rodgers was one of those guys that could play through anything and did.
But I don't know. I'd ask you. I don't know how much Jordan Love was hurt last year to know how much he played through. Right?
Well, I think it was a combination of a lot of things. I think the knee, right? We knew that was bad, right?
Yeah, but how bad or what? If it's really bad, you're not playing. Well,
that's not necessarily true. We knew the knee was bad, and
correct.
then we knew because of the knee, the groin, I think, hurt him because of the knee. So we knew all those things could happen or did happen.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to. It's an answer. The assessment of how good someone believes that Jordan Love can be this season, I think, is based to some degree on how much you thought he was hurt last season.
Correct, on how healthy he'll be this year.
Right. So if you really think that it affected him a great deal, then you're going to be pretty confident about his play this year.
Correct.
I
thought that it did.
Yeah. And I think everybody's in there, and if he doesn't play as well this season, the answer will be he wasn't as hurt last year as everybody thought. That's just closer to where he is as a quarterback. Pebble, give us the numbers on the Discount Liquor Twitter poll question.
So our Discount Liquor Twitter poll question today on the Homer Hour. You can find it at the Homer Hour on Twitter, at ESPN Milwaukee on Twitter. Like with the pros, should we know how much college athletes are making in football and basketball early on in the voting process? 80% say yes, 20% say no.
I don't think it will happen this year, but my answer would be, how would you not want to know? I would have thought it'd be like 95%. Of course everybody wants to know, right? I mean, they're pros. Like to know on the football, especially because there's so many players. What's a punter cost these days? Like, I donated $1,000 to Terrell Buckley's team at Mississippi Valley State. I think I got that right. I don't even name the school. And I thought, does that get him a backup punter? Does that get him a third-string long snapper? What's $1,000 go for college football? No one knows because nobody knows how much players are getting.
No, they don't.
And I understand why you would want to keep it private. I would, because it's hard to not think of athletes a little bit different if they're, if there's a quarterback making $4 million. I'm not sure I would look at him as a college student athlete. I don't know what the number is.
What would you look at him as?
He's a pro.
No.
And he just happens to be going to school once in a while.
No.
No?
No.
Why? Well, explain no then. I'm curious.
Well, because it changes, but I don't think you can't just say that because he makes X amount of dollars that he's not a college student.
Okay.
Now,
you know what my answer to that is? I'm making $4 million a year. I'm not going to class. I'm working on getting better at football. That's where my money's coming from. What's the point of going to class? What do I need to
you make a great point there, right?
I mean,
in that student athlete is not what it used to be.
No.
So let's just forget about that. We know what it is. It's
I want to call them as representatives of the school.
Okay.
They are representatives of the school, and then people can decide whether or not they go to class. Am I going to think any less of somebody if they don't go to class? And the answer is no. That's a part of their decision. And I don't know, each university is going to be different on,
Correct.
And going to class is going to be based on the proper leadership you're getting from people as to how much money you're making. How long is it going to last? I mean, I think these athletes making money have a greater need for a good college education than ever before.
This guy.
Now, it's different classes. What should they got to have a new major. How to handle being rich, right?
Well, they need to, right?
Yes.
I mean, they're making money hand over fist right now. They need to.
They need to know.
It's only going to get worse.
Yes, and again, do I think? Again, I will defer, but do I think less of them? If you don't go to school, yeah. If you're not right now, pretty certain that you're going to make enough money playing football. I'm making $4 million. I don't know what the number is. That's why I'd love to take. I'd love to have a major in what do you major in? How to handle rich, or there's probably a better way to put it. What would you? How to handle money, or no? It would be sports finance or something, right? We'd cover it up and make it sound good. But,
right.
I mean, to be fair, to be honest, I think those kids, and I don't know what percentage that is. That's why we like to know the money. Are more in need of direction than ever before.
Well, they do. As far as finances.
Yes. How do I deal with my family? How do I deal with people? How do I charity? How much do I have? How much do I have to invest? How much do I have to save? What does this mean? And then not to mention, do I make myself eligible for the NFL draft if I'm going to make less money?
Exactly. Right. Mm-hmm.
And you maybe you should become a university professor. I think you could be incredibly valuable in that regard.
You trying to get me another job or what?
No. Yes, I am trying to get you another job. I think those athletes, those representatives, I mean, don't you think you could be incredible help to them in all the different facets of it as to what's going to be a part of their life? And how to handle it. Not only your experiences, but the experiences of your teammates and, right?
I would agree, yes. Yeah.
How much? We'll do this in the fourth quarter. How much do they have to make a year where you could say, you don't have to go to school? I don't know that you want to answer that. My thought was.
No, I don't want to answer that.
Yeah, $4 million.
4 million is your number?
Yes, 4 million is my number. You don't got to go to school. You got to take the classes as to how to handle your money. Take finance. Maybe you need a different finance class, but it's like Brian Bulaga not getting a college degree. Why?
Well, he can always go back and get one.
But what? And he's not. And his answer kind of is like, why? Homer, explain to me why I need to do that. Well, so your kids will understand the importance of a college education. He said, I think we got that pretty well figured out. If they have
I went back and got my degree.
Yeah. I can't speak to you, but I'm guessing you don't have as much in the bank as Brian Bulaga.
I do not, but I think education, though, in my family was super important from my mother. Had to have it.
Yes.
I mean, I wasn't 30. I was like 30, 35.
You set a new standard.
So I didn't have to get it when I got it, but she wanted me to have it, so I went back to school and did it.
You did it for your mom. It's that simple.
Correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You didn't need it. You did it for your mom.
Yeah, I was already established in life.
What a nice son. What made you think that? Oh, we'll break, and then you can answer. What was so strong that you went back and got your education? Because, as you just stated, you didn't need to.
I didn't.
Did it for your mom. Next. More of the Homer Hour coming up next on 94.5 ESPN. It doesn't matter if it's your first betting slip ever or just the first one of the week. We've got your Potawatomi sportsbook picks covered. Tune in Wednesdays to the Weekly Wager with Greg Matzik, Ben Brust, and Jen Latta.
If someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything, you take it.
The Weekly Wager, Wednesday nights at 6, right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel.
Hi, I'm David Gruber. When you've been seriously injured, you need the best team of professionals on your side. Call Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices to get the results you deserve. One call, that's all.
Buying and selling a home can be a stressful process. Hey, it's Jen Latta from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. The We Sell group at Keller Williams has a goal of making it stress-free for everyone. Their passion is people, their availability is unmatched, something I'm experiencing firsthand while I search for a lake home to enjoy Wisconsin summers even more. Rob and Nick are there every step of the way, not just for their sellers, but also to potential buyers and their agents to bring in as many strong offers as possible. Get started today at wesell.kw.com. That's wesell.kw.com.
You're back at the gym. Your new gym outfit? On point. Your new sneakers? Baller. You've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with Access Checking. It's maintenance fee-free with no minimum balance requirements. So when you take your first yoga class in 10 months, your body might surprise you, but your checking account won't. You've got this with Access Checking from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Tournament host Steve Stricker joins a star-studded group of PGA Tour champions at the American Family Insurance Championship. Catch the action June 6th through the 8th with an exciting team competition and a new tournament home at TPC Wisconsin. This year's AmFam Champ concert features Megan Maroney with special guest Clint Black on Friday, June 6th at Breese Stevens Field. All proceeds support the Steve Stricker American Family Insurance Foundation and American Family Children's Hospital. Get your tickets today at amfamchampionship.com.
Hey, get in. What? Who are you? I'm future you. Constipation with belly pain still coming back? Yeah. Mia, our doctor figured it out. She said it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
A suicide on a team is devastating and a real risk for veterans. If you or someone you know is struggling, taking action for mental health is a brave step. Reach out now at reachoutwis.org for local resources available to you and your loved ones.
Paid for by Advancing a Healthier Wisconsin Endowment with support by the Medical College of Wisconsin, the War Memorial Center, and reachoutwis.org.
We know that the people of Wisconsin are hard workers, that they're tough. But even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. If you've been injured, call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
Welcome back to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
Tune in to Behind the Bucks podcast on the Bucks Plus Audio Network, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Behind the Bucks brings you exclusive access and untold stories about the greatest stars and moments in Bucks history. Go behind the scenes of Giannis's Emmy-nominated documentary, learn about Dame's journey to becoming a top 75 player, and hear about the true origins of Bucks and Six culture. Find Behind the Scenes, Behind the Bucks, on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get your podcast. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher. It's not Behind the Bucks, but Thanalysis is coming up right after this show, and then prior to the game between the Knicks and the Pacers. And yes, I believe you give the points, the Knicks will cover whatever the spread is to win Game 2 tonight. But right now, not as good as his story earlier from Brett Favre about Andre Ryzen, which you should go to on ESPN Wisconsin, the app, and listen. But got his degree for his mom. At what age, Gary?
I think that was about 35, 40.
So didn't you say, Mom, I know it's important, but I've pretty much done what we hoped, you thought, I thought, and that wasn't, you didn't say that, right?
No.
Because?
Well, I mean, my sister, and most people don't know my story, but my sister next to me is is a lawyer. She's a DA in Columbus, Georgia. And my sister next to her is a principal in Gwinnett County in a suburb of Atlanta. And my sister next to her is a doctor, where she has a PhD from Johns Hopkins University. And then there's Gary Ellerson.
Meaning?
I had to finish school because all my sisters did. I'm the oldest, yes. Right.
I got to believe your sister said, Gary, it's okay. You don't have to get the degree. You get a degree for a purpose. You achieved that purpose. None of them said that, or you didn't care? You were still going to do it for your mom?
No, none of them said that because I think it matters. You know, Homer, I'm going to tell you a quick story in this business, right? For a long time. And, of course, you know, I was on another station for another station. And in the beginning, when I first started working at this station, I used to have people call in. And people would call in and ask me, do you have your degree? They never asked any of the other guests that was on the show with me if they had their degree or not. But I always got asked that question.
Did that bother you?
And to a certain degree, yes, it did.
Huh. How happy was your mom when you got your degree?
Well, she's very happy about it. But I mean, it came with some things that she talked about that you always going to be viewed differently.
Now, I didn't know how to say this, but academically in your family, Gary, you were a loser. Just like I was to my older brother as a PhD in astrophysics and an older sister as a PhD in psychology and a younger brother as a PhD in education. Gary, I never felt as close to you as right now. From one academic family loser to another.
Loser. Yeah, there it is.
I think I did okay, and I thought you did okay. And many of my brothers and sisters have said you should, like get a master's, whatever. No!
I'm done.
But if my mom would have wanted it, I would have, just like you.
It.
But, from one academic family loser to another, thanks. It was a great show.
All right, buddy.
Gary, the loser, Ellerson, with Homer, the loser truth analysis next.
Seeing some delays northbound on 43 from just before Fond du Lac Avenue up to Keefe. Southbound